What's going on, world? It's the KayFabeyBaby NRW Ring Generals Podcast. I'm Kuya P, and I'm joined by my living legend partner, Webster Style. It's the NRW FTR. How are you, sir?
I'm no good, my brother. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. And shout out to Sean, our other KayFabeyBaby partner in this. As of this recording, we've been busy, y'all, and it's date night for my boy Sean over there. Him and his lovely wife Maki always do date night on a Fridays. It's because they're single. They don't have kids. Me and Webster Style don't know what the hell they talking about anymore.
What's that?
Exactly. Although when I was telling my wife Ebony just a second ago, Eldon, right before I came down, because I told her we were recording now, because they know when I record. Well, I don't know if your wife knows when you record and planning, and they're like, is it Sean's not gonna, like, no, because this is their night. Oh, they do date nights on there, just kind of like like when are we having our date night again? Because I'm like, hey babe, what's good.
Right.
We try to. Do you and your wife try to do a date night? Or has it been difficult because of having a little one?
Because of the age.
I know this about wrestling, y'all. I'm sorry, but we're talking about.
It's been difficult because of the age. Maybe a little bit older, we can do that.
Yeah,
you're probably in a prime spot where y'all could probably get away with that more so.
Yeah, I remember date nights, but it does become difficult when you have a little one.
Yes. You
got to get people to help out. And when she was little, we were getting relatives over to like help out, so we could keep that going. But anyway, we'll bring it back to wrestling. I know everybody's like, I thought this was a wrestling podcast. But shout out to Sean and the lovely Maki, and to our lovely wives, Eldon and I. We appreciate our wives out there.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you for holding us down so we can do this right now.
Right.
So let's talk wrestling, brother, because we don't want to. We're probably losing so many fans right now.
We're talking about Queens. Let's talk about the one right behind you. Right?
Yes, the one recent event that I really need to watch. I've been busy with screenings, so Eldon's gonna really take over this KayFabeyBaby.
Yeah.
But I am really excited to watch this latest NXT Halloween Havoc. I just saw some dirt sheet stuff, but Eldon, what went down other than the Queen Jade that I'm super excited about?
I'm still catching up myself. The only match I really watched was the Big Time Bex versus Ilya Valkyrie match, and that's where the Queen came out there and sat down, made her presence known to watch the match. I was surprised, though, there was no sort of interference or anything, but I'm glad, though, that there wasn't. I think that they don't need to establish her as someone who needs to insert herself into a situation like that. I will say I was surprised that they dropped the belt, Ilya Valkyrie. I was really hoping Tiffany would get another shot at it or be the one to bring down Becky. I feel like this is the hard part when you have such a stacked women's division. And the NXT is basking in riches when it comes to really.
Yes.
I think not anybody, but I think there were a lot of people on that roster who, from an NXT standpoint, they could have had a good match, if not a great match with Becky, and she dropped the belt to them and then put them over. I think Ilya was probably one of the ones I wouldn't necessarily thought of, especially how everything went with her getting a number one contender shot and title shot. But I'm not unhappy about it because, we talked about how this is going to work. Okay, it's worked. I'm not unhappy about how they did it, and then potentially again, I like how they're just putting Jade everywhere. You never know where she's going to show up. You don't know what.
That's why I'm confused with her being at the show. So, are they going to go NXT or are they going Raw? Where are they going?
I don't know, but they can do anything with her. And I think
which is kind of cool. That's very gangsta for her presentation into WWE.
But I think also the way that they have pretty much had the belts go everywhere, at least the NXT belts go everywhere, at least the women's and now North American, but the women particularly, I think that helps them put her anywhere they want to, because they can have her challenging for the NXT title, but still have her show up on Raw and SmackDown to be a presence there. So it doesn't diminish her, it doesn't make her look like, oh, she's just developmental, when they have done this. One of the things we've been talking about, what they've been doing with the main roster people coming down, with main roster people holding belts and whatnot, and bringing those onto the main roster, or to me, the A and B programs. Let's just put it that way. This makes it a lot easier for them to bring somebody like Jade in and to really shuffle her around without her having, or without her being looked down upon as, oh, she's developmental because she's challenging for the NXT title. She's in that program for the title. And I think that was very smart on WWE's part, not just for her specifically, but in general, to really, again, we talked about bringing some prestige to the titles, but not just prestige, eyeballs to those titles, because arguably NXT gets lower ratings than SmackDown and Raw. That lets people watching NXT. You bring those titles onto those A and B shows, as more people that more likely will go over and watch NXT, and it's definitely worked over the past few weeks. So it's not a bad strategy, especially because it's been working.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, you were saying Illa, but then I'm like Ilya Dragunov, or we're talking Lyra Valkyrie? Like, am I mispronouncing Lyra?
Yeah. Lyra Valkyrie.
I was like lost for a second. Like maybe it's me, and maybe Eldon's got it better than me. Lyra Valkyrie, and she's awesome, and Ilya Dragunov, and but yeah, I think she definitely started. But like, and you and I were talking earlier. You know, I hope they don't forget about Tiff. But they have a festival of riches with women in the NXT. There's a lot of amazing women that they could do stuff with. So I'm glad that Beck kind of gave her the rub, because again, you know, Becks don't really have that, you know what I'm saying? But it's giving spotlight, you know. So I understand the thought behind it, but like, we need to build up these amazing women that are there. And you know, it's cool that everybody's kind of getting the touch. I just hope they don't forget about people, or I hope there's a strategy and they're not wasting the times of these different people. And then when they bring her on, because when are we going to finally get her? Like, I would love for her to, I want her to be a belt collector too, because Jade's just that phenomenal. Right. And I think she's like the women Brock, the future, you know, like, I think she could, like, you know, steamroll everybody. And but yeah, I just it's good times, I think, with women's wrestling, if they get the right writers and they do right by these women.
And they're doing it in NXT. And I was going to say that one of the things about NXT, we talk about not forgetting about Tiffy, but
yeah,
they do a really good job of having women's programs that have nothing to do with a belt. And I will say,
yes,
that, you know,
Leah Hale and JC Jane. I like the little change up they're doing with her, and the rollout from Chase U. That was really, again, you know, NXT is a lot more, has been, for me personally, a lot more entertaining than Raw and SmackDown. Outside of Bloodline shit, they've got more sideline storylines in NXT that are like phenomenal.
I dare to say on a major network, because I continue to say I haven't seen MLW. I just haven't watched it. But, you know, live wrestling, I haven't watched it. So, but I'll say in the major networks and what I've seen, NXT is arguably the best show on TV every week, from best wrestling show on TV every week. Storylines, wrestling, unpredictability. Like, you really don't know what you're going to get when you watch any episode of NXT. You don't know what's going to happen, and I love that. It's definitely contrasting to the main roster, where you definitely have an air of predictability there about what's going to happen, who's going to face who. And it's not like it used to be. So I'm not going to say that, hey, this is like is back like used to be in the same matches. No. There's no way near like that. But there is definitely an energy in NXT that you don't get on the main rosters that just translates into a more fun show to watch. Period.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of catching up to do. But this one, I'm definitely gonna probably try and find a moment over the weekend to speed up, because just everybody involved, again, because it's been so good. And I always enjoy the Halloween Havoc shows on NXT.
No Chucky this year.
Because they get say again?
I said no Chucky this year.
Yeah. Like with Liv Morgan doing the Chucky stuff. But like, I like how they have shots, because Shotzi is like, you know, a big horror buff, and they've incorporated her into hosting a lot of it. And then I don't know if you've been checking out like WWE on YouTube.
Yes.
Her and Scarlett have like a little horror show, which is kind of cool. I've caught a few episodes of that. I was been meaning to bring that up to you guys, you and Sean. What do you think of these wrestlers doing kind of like these other sidebar things? I think it's kind of cool. Personally,
it adds more to their personality, and a lot
especially if you aren't doing anything with them too.
Yes,
like they ain't really doing anything with Scarlett other than hey with Killer with Cross, but they still ain't even really doing anything with him.
Right.
And then even Shotzi has been like minor. Like, come on,
right.
They got personalities.
But it fits. I love those things when it fits their personalities. Even in many respects, it fits their personas, and that's exactly what in this case it definitely does with both Shotzi and Scarlett.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up to say, what other kind of stuff would you like to possibly see? I think it fits perfectly. The whole horror thing with Scarlett and Shotzi, perfect in their wheelhouse, because they're, if you follow them on YouTube and IG and Twitter, I think the both of us have. I've been definitely tracking with them, and they always talk, especially Shotzi. She has like she's always every Halloween or October. Here's my movie picks of like my favorite horror movies.
Shotzi's a horror nerd,
and then hosting that, it's kind of cool that it was like the perfect translation to give her something else, since they're not having her wrestling every week and shit.
Right. Exactly.
It fits in that wheelhouse. So like, is there any other like kind of content outside of that what you'd like to possibly see? I think Shotzi's taking over your house because she's got you in the dark.
Yes. I think that honestly, it's just, I don't know what I'd like to see, but the more sort of avenues they have for really showcasing wrestlers' uniqueness and personalities, both inside the ring and outside the ring. And again, especially when it fits their personas. And I think
like the New Day, like the whole up, down thing perfectly. I think that's actually a little bit more of the start of it in a way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They capitalize on their gaming love and so like boom, they found a niche with them, and now, they've made it happen. Shout out to fucking Nudie. Let them get their love. Like, nah, because WWE wanted to, when they first rolled them out, we're trying to have them be like a preachy, Christian thing at one point, right? And they're like, nah, we gonna make our own thing. We're about having fun and blah blah blah. And they made their own wealth and success. But yeah, I think hopefully they'll do more with Shotzi and Scarlett and figuring stuff out. But yeah, I'm curious. And then have you had the chance to check out wrestlers on Netflix yet? That about OVW and Al Snow and all those cats?
Yeah, I haven't watched anything. It's
yeah, you and I are behind on some stuff.
I haven't watched a whole lot of stuff that I need.
That's a great reality. When you get a chance, man, like OVW, I'm gonna actually see if I can book some of them on here. But that, just that's more reality show based, but presenting that just as another avenue. There's some interesting characters there. But Impact news, I think you had.
Yeah, Impact is going to be no more after January 24th pay-per-view. Hard to Kill. They're going back to TNA.
And why do you think is that? And what do you think about that? I don't know enough on it.
I think it's smart.
Did they shift TNA because the connotation TNA?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. They shifted to that because of the connotation, which I always thought was absolutely stupid. They had a brand. I mean, you would I think they shifted in, I want to say 2017 when they shifted. Maybe it was earlier than that, but they'd been around a good almost 10 years or whatever it was by then with this brand, and then you shift to calling it Impact after your premiere show. It wasn't the same. And I know it's just a name, but the name meant a lot. And one of the things they talked about was there's a lot of history in the TNA name. That their dominant, most well-known sort of pay-per-views moments are under the TNA banner, and it was a way of kind of merging everything together under one banner. They are not bringing back the six sides of ring, though, a six-sided ring, which I'm disappointed with, but I understand the wrestlers hated it, and I'm not the one in the ring. But that was something that made TNA unique. I can live with that. They also, and we talked a few weeks ago about they are going to put money into production, but also they are going to scale up to do larger venues as well. So they are trying to maybe not get back up to where they were, but they've been at this phase. And I would say Impact is more akin to what RH was. That sort of, really top tier wrestling, but smaller tier when it comes to production and venues. I think that they have a good opportunity to really, especially with the name change, because so many people know them as TNA. One of the things that they talked about was even overseas, all their partners, especially like places like India, when I still refer to them as TNA, they've never referred to them as Impact. I honestly think even when we talk about it, we have to like correct ourselves and say Impact a lot of the times. I just think that it's a very good move from a logistics, but really it's going to be what do they do with it and how they're going to capitalize on it. If they do have a plan to really expand that brand and to quote unquote try to bring it back to its glory days in some way, shape, or form, I'm all for it because they have a great roster. They have, again, arguably the best, if not second best women's division in wrestling. I always say them in NXT. I would say NXT probably has the edge because one, I think it's just more, and two, there's just something about that product for me.
Yeah.
I think that with TNA, I'll say TNA, they've had the longest stretch of having a quality women's division. Like, we talking about decades. Hell, the Knockouts division and X division is what put them on the map. That's what got people watching TNA back in the day anyway. So they've always had that pedigree when it comes to the women's division. And if they can really elevate what they're doing, I am very excited about what this new era of TNA really holds. Because
is it the same ownership? The same ownership and everything? They just wanted to do a name shift and rebrand.
Name shift. I think a lot of this, from what I was hearing from some of the dirt sheets, this has been in the talks and the works for months, and people were surprised it just came out when they announced it at their last pay-per-view. But the people that are running the ship are like TNA people. Like they're like Scott D'Amore. He was there from the start with Team Canada, and they have a real passionate connection to the brand and to the legacy of the company. And I don't disagree with him in this regard. There's something watered down about the company with it being Impact, and it always has been. In my opinion. It changed, and I think part of it changed to Impact. I want to say when Hogan and them were there, and that's when I really stopped watching back in the day. But the product changed to being, it wasn't as exciting. It was very, also Russo was there too, which was also a key in that aspect as far as it feeling generic and feeling old. That excitement and that difference that made TNA what it was went away when they changed the Impact. And I'll say I only got back into Impact when the whole broken Matt Hardy thing started, because that was new, it was exciting, it was different. That was not saying the cinematic matches were TNA, but TNA was a different experience when it came to wrestling, in my opinion. And when they became Impact, they were like everybody else. Like literally like everybody else. And I hope that and one thing they've been doing in the past couple of years is they've been really finding their identity. And you watch an Impact show, it's not like watching WWE, it's not like watching AAW. They are not competing with anybody, they are being what they are. And it took them a long time to get back to that, because they weren't that way when Anthem bought them from Dixie Carter. They struggled. They finally got right leadership in there, and they've been doing some banger stuff the past couple of years. And I think this is just a way of growing and changing, but changing is something that's a bit more genuine to the product they are making now.
I'm cool with that. I like that. That's interesting as a wrestling fan, and just again, kind of not watching them too much, but with every kind of like a rebirth or a rebrand, it brings new eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, okay, now here's a new starting point for somebody to come in, and I'm like, okay, so I'm slightly intrigued, and because we've been charting a lot of changeovers and a lot of releases, I'm kind of half curious with a rebrand. They're going to do something new and different, and also could mean some new wrestlers. And so I'm kind of half intrigued. Ooh, would this be like a new place for some the people that haven't found a home yet on any of the brands at the moment.
Right.
Does that interest you at all with this as well? Would you like to see anybody that we've seen recently released or just haven't heard from in a while, or something new with this new rebrand?
Oh, I definitely want to see Shelton show up.
Oh,
Shelton, I think,
yeah,
like in the X division or
yeah.
something.
Anybody released that have ties to the OG TNA that could possibly come back, you think?
Not to my knowledge.
But Shelton was there, right?
No, I don't think Shelton's ever been in TNA. He was always a WWE person, then he was in New Japan. So
I thought he might, because Kurt Angle, and they had like a team and stuff.
Oh, Charlie Haas showed up once, and that was like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But I think Shelton, more than anybody, got released. I think the way they've been positioning the title, especially with I always remember Chris Sabin's name, but I forget the other Mojo Machine Gun. But him having the title, and then with Josh Alexander, they've very much grounded the title as a wrestling world title. And now, so I'm thinking Shelton, him being there
would be a good.
Yeah, it's not about big, muscular, beefy men wrestling for the title. It was about wrestling, and that's what I like that they have done. Particularly over the past 2 years, I guess, since Josh Alexander had the title, but even before, I've liked that. And I think Shelton would be someone who could come in and could be in contention for the TNA title or be in contention for the X Division title. I just think that someone with his caliber, and the man don't.
I felt he's been underutilized.
Yeah,
he's got a great look, great performer. Just never felt he's been done right.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that even a short run in TNA could really, everyone could benefit. I'll put it that way. Because I can say, to do him so good, like he's Shelton Benjamin. He's a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer. Let's not lie about that one. Yeah. But I think that TNA would do very well with him in their ranks for a while. And one of the things they don't always sign people to like long contracts. So people be there 6 months, 8 months, a year. You finish out your storyline. They decide whether or not they want to resign you or vice versa, and people move on. And I am okay with that, especially considering, WWE is like, this person got released. Like 25 people got released on April, whatever it was. And it's just like, that's no way to do business.
Yeah.
Like, for real. I know you're the biggest person in the game, but that just seems like bad business. And what are you doing wrong that you can't find a way to utilize these people? Yeah. TNA, I will say this, in my opinion, they utilize people. It don't always go right, but they try to find them. Like I just read that Heath's contract is done with I'll say TNA instead of Impact.
Yeah.
And that they couldn't come to an agreement or didn't come to an agreement, okay, cool. Contract ended. But the same thing could happen. PCO, the same thing was going around about him. And then Scott D'Amore said the first TNA signing is PCO. So all of this could be part of the rebranding. Sammy Callahan's contract is done with Impact. There's speculation about where he might go. He could show up in a new TNA. Who knows?
Yeah.
But contracts in, and you move on. What's supposed to happen with independent contractors. That's the way the game works.
Yeah.
That
I'm curious where again, with that, I'm curious, with a again, fresh start, see what they're doing over there. And then because, different wrestlers I miss, will they show up? Who knows? Because you just want to see people still working and fresh and everything like that. Again, I'm still kind of getting back in the loop with things. We did NXT, we talked Impact TNA. Any other news stories, man? I know you're still catching up too.
Yeah, I'm catching up.
I think AEW, isn't there some movement going on over there with MJF, you said?
Yeah, MJF versus Kenny Omega this Saturday, at least at the time of this recording, on Collision. Yeah. And I'm kind of like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's not good for TV, but that's a pay-per-view match.
Yeah. I'm curious. I've been seeing a lot of different things happening, and I have of all the wrestling programs we've been watching, and the one I've neglected the most, I'm so far gone on AEW at the moment, and I'm kind of sad by that. Like they've had some good programming, like what they're doing, but I feel like I've caught some of the WWE stuff. I think it's easier access, but just I feel like so out of the loop with AEW at the moment, to be honest.
I would say in that context, WWE does an excellent job of getting you caught up if you don't watch the program. I can't say
maybe that's it, right? Yeah,
that's everywhere. And look, WWE's production is great, and they do a really good job of YouTube clips and on their website and shorts.
Very true.
They do a very good job of not just the wrestling, but having the story as part of what they do. And even those minute clips you get a a sense of what the story and what's going on. AEW, I get action a lot. And it's just me personally. Some other people may get different from that, but I get the action, but I don't get the story about what's going on. So if I don't see Collision, if I don't see Dynamite, if I don't see Rampage, I can check up on their YouTube channel and figure out what's going on, or their clips and whatnot. But no, it's the action part of it. It's not so much the story part of what's going on.
The only thing I've been really seeing AEW clip wise is Swerve and Don Dada and the Swerve child. I get those memes, like, which I love. But what is going on right now? Like, I think the latest meme I saw was MJF doing the Swerve dance with Prince. I keep messing up. Nana, yes. So I don't know what's going on, but I feel I need to catch up there and just see what's going on. And it's weird with what you're saying, Omega and MJF. Like
we're talking before I was
forgot about the whole thing with Baby. What's his name? But I think he was injured, right? That's what's going on with him.
And they've had some stuff going on with Adam being over at Roderick's place, and I don't know if there's still. I know it's been a week or two since I've seen anything again.
Yeah,
there hasn't been any more vignettes. I just haven't seen them. But I'm interested in this Omega MJF match. How it's going to go down, and we still don't know who's in the devil mask.
I've heard that. I've saw a little bit of those memes.
Well, yeah.
And then I saw another thing that reminds me. There was apparently Orange Cassidy was walking out and shoulder bumped Moxley.
Yeah.
But that wasn't intended, and they like almost literally fought.
Oh, that wasn't intended?
That's what they're saying.
Oh.
I don't know. Again, I got a lot of catching up to do. But that wasn't planned.
Considering the history of them in the title, so.
Yeah. So I don't know. A lot to catch up on y'all. Y'all let us know in the comments, man. We're out of loop, very busy.
There's a lot of wrestling to keep up with, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, man.
Oh, but Flair showed up on AEW.
That I saw too. Yeah, with Sting.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty, like that was neat. And that made me like, does he still have a Legends contract?
And actually, I just looked at Twitter for a half second because I was posting something, and a picture popped up of Andrade and fucking CM Punk. Like he just posted it saying happy birthday. But not talking about Punk? I thought CM Punk was blacklisted, but Andrade just posted. I think he was saying happy. I think it's Punk's birthday. Posted a picture of himself and Punk saying happy birthday.
I do remember Andrade said that he always helped me. Something to the effect that like I don't got no issues. He always helped me. I got respect for this man. Yada yada yada. So I know there's no bad blood between him and Punk, based on what Andrade's put out, especially around that time. But I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if the Ric Flair thing was a one-off. I actually haven't watched anything. Because I know there've been some videos on my feed that have discussed that, but I just haven't watched any. I thought that was pretty neat. I love this world of wrestling where people can just show up anywhere again.
Same. I dig that.
I really, really love that. And I miss that when it was just WWE. You never know where people want to go. And also outside of WWE, everybody seems to be working together in many respects. Hell, even just think about when AEW started. MJF was still on the contract with MLW. He was still working both promotions for like a good year or something like that. So there's a lot of synergy with that. Oh, and even this weekend we do have a pay-per-view. It's NWA Sam Hain, I think, whatever it is. And it's honestly, I'm not really up on the matches. I'm not that enthused about this pay-per-view. I think that it's I know the title match, it's EC3 versus Tom Latimer, and I have no doubt in my mind that EC3 is going to win since he just won the belt. But one of the things that they're doing, they as an NWA, they are trying to bring back the territory system. So, and they started with EC3's promotion out of Cleveland, Exodus. So it's now NW Exodus. So they're trying to bring back all the little regional belts as well and feed that into the main NWA. That's an interesting idea for 2023, considering the wrestling landscape. But the one thing I said about Billy Corgan, he loves old school. He loves how it used to work. And I think that how it used to work can be a breath of fresh air in the landscape. But I brought that up simply because all of the companies working together reminds me of like a territory system.
Yeah.
So this will be, I'll say 2024. Oh, and NWA got a TV deal. They're going to be on CW.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. So don't know like it's a scheduled day and time or syndication, but yeah, 2024 is going to be a very interesting wrestling landscape with the free agents that are possibly coming up, with people stepping their game up like NWA and TNA. It is going to be a very exciting year to be a wrestling fan, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. AEW now a little bit more older, evolved a little bit. This whole Endeavor deal, I'm still sure they're trying to finalize out remaining storylines since the acquisition and where they're going to go forward, because they're still very fresh, and it's going to be very interesting, brother.
Yeah. I feel like in this case, this is my opinion, and it's kind of based on what you said. I feel as though after WrestleMania 40, there's going to be a hard reset. Because in all intents and purposes, just like Crown Jewel's coming up is LA Knight versus Roman. While I love this, there is no way in hell that they're putting the belt on LA Knight. There's no way they're taking the belt off of Roman for anybody.
Yeah.
Cody.
I know we're going to get to Crown Jewel in like a week or two, but
yeah.
But this whole LA Knight versus Roman, I'm sorry, bro. I know you're an LA Knight fan. And actually, I think when we get to that, because y'all didn't record, I'm kind of over LA Knight personally now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm more and more seeing this. That's fucking Stone Cold. That's fucking rock shit. That's fucking Stone Cold.
You think he's probably more overexposed now? Like, so the charm.
Yeah, but it's just so glaringly obvious he's just taking pieces of them that I don't see the person that he is. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, just so much a play off of those wrestlers, a combination of those two. I don't see who this cat is. I'm kind of bored with him now, bro.
This is the only reason I'll disagree with you. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that people see that more because he is in the WWE now. You did not have those sort of comparisons like that when he was with TNA, when he's with Impact, when he's with NWA. That is not something you heard in the discourse like that. But now he's in the big time and he's in that place where those people made their names. You have that comparison. You have that he reminds you of these people, because that's exactly the house that they built. When he was somewhere else, I'm not saying nobody said it, but you did not hear people talking the way that you do now about him and his shtick and his cadence and how he speaks and even his brashness. There was no direct comparisons like, oh, he's kind of like The Rock, or maybe more so The Rock than Stone Cold, but it wasn't this egregious. It wasn't this rampant. So that's just my opinion. Again,
no worries. It's like just so obvious for me now. Because like when he first came out, he was the Maximum Male Models thing, but then he was Hagerstown, Maryland, and I was like, oh, cool, a local wrestler cat. Right. But then they shifted him to this LA Knight, and you're not and now they're saying he's from LA now. It just, the whole look, the logo, this whole, like I said, Rock Stone Cold to me like thing. I'd rather him be Eli Drake, which is what he was when I started doing my research on the guy. Right. I'm like, why don't we have Eli Drake? To me, that would be more the actual guy that is him. Instead, I'm seeing now this corporate branded publicity. LA because LA, you know what I'm saying? So like, we're going to give him that. LA Knight, it feels like the Eli Drake. Was that even what they're doing before this LA Knight thing? Was it Eli Drake?
Yeah, he did that as Eli Drake. Like that.
I'd rather have that this fake ass LA Knight. Because like you're not LA Knight, you're Hagerstown, Maryland.
Only thing that changes the name though. This is his character, his shtick has been.
But it feels now so corporate branded.
But that's what it's been for years now. And I can't say there's been any real deviation. That's how he was in Impact. Again, not as flashy, but the persona is still the same. That's how he is in NWA. Like the persona is still the same. He just has more flash now because of
I'd rather have it be because I'm just seeing the how like you just know that's the fake name or whatever. So like that's sticks some. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, but it's like he's not being fucking Roman Reigns, dude. There's no way. No. Like I think, is that gonna harm this cat? But at the same time, like what about Cody? Like, what about all these other things that just I don't know, man.
They plant the seeds.
I don't know what they're doing right now.
There's so much going on.
Yeah.
And honestly, the way LA Knight rose, they had to address this. They had to.
And that's why. But now they're going to squash everybody because they're not going to get the pay. They're not going to give you that payoff that y'all want.
No, they're not.
But at the same time, I don't know if he deserves it. To be honest, like
I don't understand why they didn't.
Just like the name
U.S. title mix, like that whole U.S. title booking. I don't get. Like that's really where they should have had him because they had him.
I agree that I'd give him that tier belt. I don't know if he ain't world level yet, bro.
No. I mean, you still could have had him feuding with Roman as the U.S. champion, and it would make more sense for him to lose, but keep his belt. But yeah, I don't get that booking. Honestly, I don't get that booking. Like whole U.S. championship booking, it just doesn't make sense to me. They should have put it on Santos. Has Santos versus LA Knight as the feud going forward.
I feel like they wasted Santos.
Yeah, they have. They really have, especially bringing back Carlito.
They took away that glimmer of that. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Look, we will get on everybody in their booking and how it makes us feel. Don't think we shills for any one company because we will look, well, except maybe NXT. I don't think most of us have any issue with NXT is doing. But
right now I think they're doing it. They're doing the damn
we'll
thing.
Call them out.
Yes.
I think we don't do that, but yeah, so that's I get it. And I honestly, as much as I love LA Knight, I do feel as though there's an overexposure, and more so because of this match where he's not going to win. I don't understand how it further aids in creating, quote unquote, a new superstar in this case. I think a U.S. title program, especially the likes of Ray, even when he had Austin Theory, now he's in that tag team with Grayson Lawler. I guess it's organic, but it's not. But Ray, Santos, LA Knight, I think that would have been a good sort of program to run over the 2-3 months. But they just kind of just went, okay, cool, you won that match, okay, Grayson Waller, okay, blah blah blah, okay, hey, we're gonna put you in a big time and call out Roman and give you the rub from Cena, and like, which is understandable, but I think in the context of what they've been doing, it was way too soon. It was way too soon. They haven't done enough time to build him up. In the ring, in my opinion, from a storyline perspective. Now, will the match be entertaining? Yeah, it's going to be entertaining. I don't doubt that, but I just think it's too soon.
And here's another thing, man. Real quick, I actually just thought of one that's been bothering me because we already saw EO cash out. When the fuck is Damian gonna cash the fuck out, bro? And against whom are they gonna? They're not gonna do it against Roman, but I have a feeling they're gonna fuck it up with it ain't gonna be Seth either. Like, what the fuck are they doing with Damien and the damn?
I just said it the other day, and this is what I think, and I agree with this person, that they are going to have Drew beat Seth, and then Damien cash in on Drew.
Really?
And
is Drew happening at Crown Jewel?
Yes.
Okay.
Drew and Seth at Crown Jewel. Of course, honestly, this is the
thing. They're gonna fuck over Drew again.
Yeah, that's what I'm not happy about. Really?
What the fuck,
they
bro?
Had Shinsuke win that belt. Him going as Drew, and had Damien cash in and give Seth a break. I like some Seth Rollins, but okay, it's time. Look, we talked about, and I was thinking about this in NXT. We have talked about that era when literally belts change like hot potatoes sometimes, but it served the storyline. We are seeing that in NXT, and again with that women's title, even with the men's title, they are doing it effectively well. They're building up storylines and having a new title every 3 to 5 months, whatever it is. But it works. You don't need to have a champion 6, 7, 8, 9 months anymore, because you're not building up anybody else really to be credible. And when you do and they lose, they go back to a random ass feud with Ricochet or whatever. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like,
yes,
I am not saying that match between Ricochet and Shinsuke wasn't great.
Yeah,
it's random. Especially after you had this great feud with Seth, you go to this random ass feud with Ricochet, and now Ricochet is attacking Logan Paul because he in there messing with his girl, which he should from a real life perspective. But okay, what happened to Shinsuke? It's they're all over the place, and they're that way partially because the belts are locked in on all of these people. The US title is locked in to the LWO right now. Their drama and whatnot. Gunther has Intercontinental, Seth has the World, and Roman has the WWE Universal Heavyweight, whatever. And nobody's dropping those belts, and that's the problem. There is no circulation, and you're not putting anybody over. And that's even worse because you are not, for the most part, doing a good job. You doing mediocre at times, but you're not doing a good job of having storylines that elevate people without a belt, especially the women.
Bruh. Yeah, man.
Now get off my soapbox.
I'm with you, dude. I just, that's again the glaring fuck upness that they just, it's. Anyway, I know there's more to talk, but on that, we'll save it for Crown Jewel. I think that'll be all Crown Jewel conversation even more. But I got a lot of catching up to do, man. And Webster Style, man, I appreciate you with some of the latest and what your feelings, especially the Impact TNA stuff, because I haven't really had my eye on it. But now I'm kind of cool to check out, with some freshness. There's. That's why it's like Image Comics, or like not Image Comics, but like comics in general, where we always get a new number one to bring on some new viewers, new readers.
No, the images are great. Look, us old heads understand what it was like.
You know what I'm talking about, Eldon. But
you know what it's like when those first image books, it was something new, it was something fresh, it was something different. So no, your analogy works. I get it.
All right, brother. So let's count us out until next time, man. I guess we'll be covering Crown Jewel and what the hell happens after Omega and MJF.
Right.
A lot of craziness going on. And you need to check out Wrestlers, because we got to get primed up, especially when we get some OVW people up on here, because they're doing some freshness over there too, man. I think you'll like it.
I don't doubt.
All right, brother. How can the people check you out, and what else you got going on over on the Sartorial and Geek podcast, bro?
You can check me out. All the links right here: IG Webster Style, Twitter Webster Style, TikTok _Webster. Anything and everything is Webster can be found at webster.com. This week, 3 tobacco fragrances for the season. That's up now. Game Bites over at Webster Style, as well as Nerds of the World, talking about, what am I talking about this week? Oh yeah, Dead Island Retro Revenge, worth 99 cents. Not any more of that. Also, I published new podcast is out with Queen Rose and Fragrances again, Dead Island, Retro Revenge, and I feel like I have something else being published by the time this comes out, but it escapes me. A lot of stuff in the pipeline, drafted, published, and then between Kuya and I over the next 2 weeks, we're gonna be busy.
Oh yes, actually, you know what? And actually, I have an idea that I'll throw onto you offline, but there's gonna be more from the living legends that you see on your camera right now. We're actually gonna, we're gonna have a little bit more content, some grouped content, some adult content coming your way. All right, yo, my boy Webster Style, your boy Kuya P. Follow me at the Legend Kuya P on Twitter, TikTok, IG, Hive, Blue Sky, and of course here with Webster Style, Sean, Checkpoint Squad, everybody, Heather, Glenn. We got a ton of content coming your way, and then your living legends right here are gonna bringing you some adult stuff, and hopefully actually. We also need to head out to some wrestling stuff, bro, and some events. And I'm going to see if I can make some of that stuff happen too. But until then, we're out of here, y'all, in a 1, 2, 3.
You come in my face, I'm gonna fight you.
Well, you're not gonna bust a nut anytime we're in the ring.
I'm gonna get off by cranking your knob just a little beyond the breaking point.
When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna eat your ass like a pot of collard greens, baby.
I'm gonna stretch his ass like it's never been stretched before.
You can hide behind that commissioner stuff just so long until I jerk a knot in your ass.
And if you don't think I'm big enough, and you grab a hold of me, and you'll know that I'm growing, my man. Within your hands, I will get as big as I need to be to do the job on you.
All right, just jerk Helmsley off.
There's one part of our bodies that's soft, and it ain't soft all the time if you catch my meaning.
I'm gonna come on you like nobody's ever come on you before. Just you and I getting it on like two men should do.
Oh, no, that's interesting.
Boy, I'm coming hard.